Hi everyone, I hope you are doing well. I am coming at you today with a walkthrough of my latest tarot deck, the Cosmic Tarot, A Journey to Oneness. Had some issues getting set up with the lighting in here. It's a bright, sunny Saturday afternoon, but this just arrived last night, and so I felt really called to go ahead and record this walkthrough video. And if you guys are familiar with how I do my walkthrough videos, I will start with the major arcana, and then we will go through each card. I'll explain the image, and then the reason I chose the image, and it kind of gives you a little bit of a mini kind of tarot lesson if that's something you're looking for. So the video can be a little long. Try to make this one a little bit quicker than my usual, but I will timestamp down below. If, for example, you just want to see the cup suit or the major arcana, you can just go right to those. So I will just give kind of a brief explanation that this is kind of became the unintended third deck in sort of a series and an evolution of my own personal journey. So the Sacred Union Tarot was my first tarot deck, and that was the depiction of my awakening, my initial spiritual awakening. It was intended to be a deck geared towards those on the twin flame journey, Sacred Union, hence the name Sacred Union Tarot. Obviously, in 3 years, that journey has shifted quite a bit for me and for others in the collective to one of internal union and union with self. So that is where Tarot of the Sea comes in. That one I just released a few months back. And the Cosmic Tarot, A Journey to Oneness, is then once you're in union, with yourself, your masculine and feminine, it's that deeper journey and union with the divine, union with the all, union with spirit. And so the cards and the images obviously have a different meaning there. All of my decks are available at Make Playing Cards. I do have some limited inventory still. I did shut my Shopify down just because the costs were it didn't make sense to pay, and they raised the cost, and it was like, this just makes no sense. So I do have limited inventory that I have available at a discount. It is cheaper than the Make Playing Cards would be. I have all of my decks except for the Cosmic series, so the Cosmic Order Oracle and this one. I do not have these in my inventory. So if there's any decks that you've been eyeing or interested in, please reach out to me via email. That information's down below. I can send you the pricing, applicable shipping, and if you're local to the Dayton, Ohio area, obviously there's free pickup there. So, okay, without further ado, we will go ahead and get started, and I'm going to walk through this for you guys. So obviously we're starting with the Major Arcana and the Fool. The Fool is that initial, that leap of faith, that new beginning, that awakening. And what I love about this image, and as you'll see, obviously the deck is themed, right, cosmic themed. So all of the images are going to have that that theme to it. So there's going to be stars, there's going to be astrology, just all kinds of outer space, all that kind of stuff woven within it. But the traditional Fool, you're seeing somebody kind of on the precipice of taking a leap of faith, like they're hesitant to jump off the cliff. And then in my Tarot of the Sea, they were she's embracing it. She's embracing the journey. Here, the guy is literally just like leaping over these mountains, right? He's like going with the flow. He's like jumping timelines. He's just like, yeah, I've got this now. I'm in it. I'm not scared of taking these risks. And so when you've been on the journey for a long time, you start to trust the process and you're not as hesitant to take that leap. The Magician, this one is all about alchemy. So I just love that because, and hopefully you guys can see this okay. I'm definitely getting a glare, but you'll get the gist of it. This guy, there's a shadow. It's someone holding in their hand this jar where it's got this magic in it. And so it's like the power within you, right? You're the magician. We've got the High Priestess, and that's pretty self-explanatory. You can see like she's sort of outlined like within her dress that she's wearing. It's cosmic and it almost looks kind of like a tree going up her back, and she's just got this like higher perspective, that intuition, that insight, and she's sort of one with the whole process. The Empress. This one is definitely one that needs to be explained because the traditional Empress is going to be a woman who's pregnant. And, pregnancy and fertility is something that is it has this whole other meaning, right? It doesn't have to literally mean that. As you go further on the journey, you start to realize you're giving birth to a new existence, and you're helping bring in a new earth. But what I love about this one, you have to turn the image sideways to see her, but the outline and like where her pregnant belly would be, she's like in the middle of a zodiac wheel. And so for me, this represents, the Empress is the divine feminine energy, but this is becoming one with your divine blueprint. And when you do that, that's when like this whole new world opens up. When you start embodying the characteristics under which you were born and following that path, right? So I could do a whole video on that, and maybe I will at some point. The Emperor is the divine masculine. I love this. You can see he's just got this fierce energy, this kind of knowing, and it's hard to see it, but within his hand, it's like this whole universe is there, and that's like where his eye is. It's like he's got the knowing within him. He doesn't have to see; he just knows. He sees with other senses, right? The more you start to become one with the all, it just permeates your being. The Hierophant, I love it because this is the higher spirit, your higher self, connecting with like the spiritual guide. It's like getting the download. And what's really cool about this, it's hard to see, but there's a cross here on top of the hill. But it's like he doesn't need to go to the church, right, to connect to the divine. He's getting it direct. And so that's what happens as you start to connect on your own and feel that, I guess, that knowing and that expansion and that connection to everything. The Lovers, I just, of course I love this one. Even though this is a journey to oneness, this is, the journey within is our masculine and feminine within us. And so this is it's like a cosmic, the feminine energy and the masculine energy. And it almost looks like a heart in the center. But I just love this. This is about the balance within us too. The Chariot, that is forward motion, momentum. It can literally mean transportation or a trip. So what I love is you got the spaceship here flying through. You got some fast movement there, right? Strength is associated with the lion, with Leo season. So there's always traditionally a lion. A lot of times there's a woman taming the lion on here, but we just have the lion on the cliff, and he's just kind of taking it all in, right? It's having that strength to know that you're going to get through this and that you're like part of this whole process, and you just go forward. And really, I like it. I view it as like there's no need to tame the lion, right? Your fierceness, your courage. Once you get to a certain point, you don't care what others think about you. And if you're too fierce for them, that's not a vibrational resonance. And, you're not afraid to walk the path alone, but you're the leader, and you're, and you're in control of yourself and trusting yourself and staying strong in that knowing. The Hermit, of course, is what it dictates, that's self-explanatory, is that going within. And so she's within, looking outside, but it's almost like, it's like there's literally like, I think it's like Saturn is like right outside. So a lot of that could be going within and kind of integrating the lessons and just taking a time away from the outward world, so to speak. I like this one too because it's like, okay, maybe it's like you've had enough. Saturn is about karma. It's about you kind of, when Saturn is doing certain things, depending on your chart or depending on the astrology that's going on right now, retrogrades, whatever it is, Saturn can be one that can be kick our ass, so to speak. And so you might need to take some time away and some time to process things. The Wheel is the Wheel of Fortune, and it's about destiny. It's about moving forward. But what I love, on the cosmic vibe, it's a portal. It's like, moving forward into the next level. And of course, what, like clockwork, I've got some cats acting up in the background, so we might have some visitors. Hopefully they behave. More about balance on this journey of the masculine and feminine is the justice. And I just love this because you can see the pink and the blue. The wolf, animal totems are definitely a big part of this journey as well. So I wanted to encompass, include that aspect. And, you start connecting to different spiritual realms, not just in the cosmos, but, shamanic, Native American, all of those things, those energies and those frequencies start coming in and are starting to come back actually into the mainstream now. The Hanged Man, this is that stuck state that, we're not going anywhere, but sometimes it's just you're in this state of like suspension or surrender and kind of contemplation. So I thought this was cool because it's like he's being beamed up to the moon. Death. Death it can mean literal death, but it's typically the ending of a situation. It's like a death and rebirth. So this one we've got to turn sideways. What I love, it's like the ship has wrecked. It's long gone. It's dead. The crow is another symbol of closure and death. But there's this like promise, the brightness of the moon, of something else coming forward, of a new path that's forming. Temperance is about patience. It's about divine timing, and it can be about healing. So I always like associate that with an angel. This one's an angel of stone. So sometimes on this journey, you can feel like you're waiting forever, right? And you start to disconnect from the earthly realm, and you're kind of like, you start to embody like more of this like energy, and you're like, okay, am I human now? Am I a light being? What is happening? It's like just this whole weird like in between two worlds as you wait for divine timing to play out. The Devil, I love this one. It obviously has a cosmic theme, but notice the skeleton. I mean, it looks kind of evil, but he's wearing a suit, and so to me, this represents corporate greed. It represents, the powers, in the 3D, right, that kind of suppress and hold us and tell us, we have to attach to material things, and it's like that inner like struggle too, that I got to make money and do this and do this versus pursuing my divine like purpose. So there's a lot that goes into this card, and I am excited to see. I've never used this deck. It just came last night, so I'm just seeing these cards too for the first time as I'm walking through it in real time. So I'm excited to use these in a reading, and I'm hoping to do that here soon so that we can see how the energies interplay, in a tarot spread. So we've got the Tower, which typically the Tower is crumbling down, which I suppose, right, with the divine intervention. I like to view the Tower more positively and not fear it, because a lot of times, there's divine intervention when things are no longer serving and you're meant to take a shift on your path. So certainly one of these comets, could be coming in and take the Tower down. But as of right now, it's kind of like it's still standing. It kind of reminds me too of your resolve. Like despite getting pelted, right, with these lessons or these things coming in, that you're going to rebuild and you're going to go forward even stronger than you were before. The Star, that's all about alignment, destiny. So this to me is just beautiful. She's just like embracing, and there's this beautiful breeze and this flow, and it's like really just the magic that's within you. There's a lot, like I said, with a lot of these that the context is really going to come out in the reading. The Moon and the Sun, these are self-explanatory. These are also the same images that I use in my Cosmic Order Oracle. But I mean, this one, I just feel it. You feel the energy coming off that image. It's just so amazing, right? Here's the Sun. The Sun, obviously, in the cosmic sense, we know what that means, but it represents happiness and warmth. Judgment, this is one of my favorite ones. Not necessarily when it happens to you, right? But like the image, as I was saying earlier, Saturn is associated with karma, and judgment is associated with karma. So it's like Judgment Day, like Saturn's coming around, like what lesson do you have to learn? What's coming up in, if I pulled this card in a reading, I'd say, all right, what's coming up in astrologically that's gonna have an impact on you. You might have some, something coming back around for you to look at and reassess the situation and learn from it. Could also represent like karmic relationships, karmic contracts. The world, this is about closure. This is about completing the cycle. But to me, this is kind of like coming full circle, like literally embracing that you live in your own world. I mean, she's sitting there meditating on the edge of this like cliff that's facing like what looks like the earth, and it's like she's come to this place where it's like, I'm at one with the journey now, and like, yeah, we're never done, and we recognize we're never done, but like I'm at peace with like the next leap of faith that's coming, right? When we start over in the major arcana, we have that Fool, we have that timeline jump. So it's this whole process, this cyclical process that comes around. The major arcana represents its own journey. So I love that. So that is all the major arcana. We're going to go on to the swords now. Ace of Swords. These are, the beginnings. Obviously, I love that there's a sword in this, and then we've got the planet in the background, and it's kind of like just that, to me, it kind of represents the swords of the archangels and the sword of truth, and embracing the truth, that there's more than the powers that be, on this earth that would want us to know, right? There's more that we can tap into and connect to the divine. Swords are also about our mental state, so and they can be about challenges. So some of these images are a little bit darker. Two of Swords is about a path, like which way are you going to go? So what I love about this is like you can walk through the woods or you can go through this portal. And a lot of times, and there's an owl here, which those can represent closure. So when I would see this card, a lot of times when you're at a crossroads in your life and you're at Two of Swords and you're in your head, which way am I going to go? Which way am I going to go? When you're agonizing, it's because you know which way you want to go. You just don't want to leave the other path. The other path, you don't want to close the door. It's like, I want to stay here, but, it's that indecision and that fear because you know what you want to do, you know what you need to do, but it's just that challenge of actually taking the action. Three of Swords, this is our heartbreak, and one of the more emotional cards. So what I loved about this is water represents our emotions, and this is kind of like a darker energy, with the water, pouring down, and it's gray, and it's just very depressing. So Four of Swords is about our healing. This is one that you need to turn sideways to see the full image. But what I love about this is there's this little girl who's like sleeping on top of the earth. So obviously a very cosmic image, but what's profound about this for me is that it, represents the inner child healing that we constantly do on this journey, and it never ends, right? Even though I say, oh yeah, this is the third deck in a series, and I'm in a different place on my journey now than I was when I did Sacred Union Tarot, and I don't get triggered as easily with things, right? There's still this that needs to be nurtured and honored, and sometimes healing and rest, after we go through an emotional purge, taking that time to really nurture ourselves. Five of Swords. Five of Swords is the card about deception. It can be the smiling snake card. It and the Three of Swords are very similar. Three of Swords, though, is more of a heartbreak, like it could be someone passing away, and you having something, very emotional happening. Five of Swords is more like someone you trusted betrayed you. And it's kind of a shocking thing. And what I thought that was really cool about this card is it's a church. This is a church, and what bigger deceiver on the spiritual journey and our connection with God is organized religion. Because we're told we have to go through them to connect, and this journey to oneness, what this this represents is we have it all within us. And so I thought that was really a fitting image to use for Five of Swords. Six of Swords is moving on to calmer waters, after you have went through some sort of a trauma or a loss, or a betrayal, something like that. Six of Swords, I love this one. It's actually one of the brightest, so I debated about using it, but I didn't really find anything else that worked. You know, the boat traditionally is used to move on to calmer waters, and the Six of Swords. But what I love about this is it's such a lighter energy after you go through that heaviness. And when it's following the image of the church, right? It's like this whole new world that's like, okay, dragon energy, right? That's a different culture. That's, you know, the Chinese zodiac. There's, you know, all these other things that make up the truth. It's not just Christianity. It's not just Buddha. It's not, you know, there's snippets that are factual from all areas. And when you start to move away from that deception, you open yourself up to this whole lighter, more expansive experience. Seven of Swords, though, then you go back to that and you're like, well, I thought we were moving to calmer waters. Seven of Swords can be about strategizing when it's in a positive sense in the reading. So you just see where, you know, it comes out with the other cards. But it's also about deception, somebody being two-faced. So for me, what this represents is I've really found out, especially this year on my journey, like you might attract somebody in that is high vibrational. There are high vibrational, you know, high vibrational means, you know, outside of the third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension. Fourth dimensional beings, you know, just like in humanity where we have good and bad people, you have good and bad energies. So, you know, demonic energies, negative entities, souls that are trapped in purgatory, they exist in the fourth dimension. Sometimes, though, they will attach to people. They're high, you know, high vibrational people on Earth. And so, like, I've met people where I'm like, wow, like, this person gets it. You know, they're awakened. They're, you know, finishing my sentences. We're on the same wavelength. And then you realize they're, like, tapped into a darker entity, right? And it's all about balance, so there's got to be dark and light, right? But you assume because they're high vibrational that you're seeing the whole picture, but there's this whole other side. So when you start to raise your vibration and engage with other people who, and there's people who claim to be light workers, right? And they're very greedy, or they just don't totally, I don't know, have the best intentions. You start to see, just because somebody is spiritual, just because somebody is awakened, just because somebody might be doing the work to serve others or to work on themselves, quote, you know, there's this other side that's out there. So you have to start being, you know, more protective of your energy. And just that's where you really start your intuition. Like, you're going to get that nudge, like, something's off. Something's off. They said something that's kind of a red flag. So the Seven of Swords is a really important card on this journey. It's important energy, I should say. Eight of Swords is a self-imposed imprisonment. So when you're in your head, it's like, see the gates open and you're in this dark space, and you always can free yourself from the gate and connect up to the divine again. Sometimes we just have to be reminded when we get in these darker places. Nine of Swords is another energy. It's of anxiety. It's where you're not tapping in and you're letting your fear get you. So you can see this guy is like, he's sad, he's depressed, he's anxious. And I actually think this might be the same guy that's in the Emperor card. So it's like when you're out of alignment, right? You remember how he had his hand holding, you know, the eye, and it's like, I'm good, I see it all, it's within me. Here it's where he's lost himself. His eye is not there. And he's like just stuck in his head and not in his heart and in connection to the divine. Ten of Swords, this one I thought was really interesting. I think she's supposed to be kind of like an alien, like, you know, emulating an alien of some sort. But to me, it reminds me of all the swords in the back in the traditional tarot. But notice how she's still standing and she's kind of like numb to it. She's kind of like, yeah, whatever. Someone betrayed me again. I got this lesson. You start to become, you don't want to become numb to it, I don't want to say, but you become detached. You need to process your emotions. So there's a lot of that can happen on this journey where you suppress things. But you get to this point where it's like you're kind of unfazed. You got all these swords in your back and you're like, oh, I thought this, you know, whatever this was going to happen. It didn't. It was another test. This was another test. Oh, this person fell out of my life. You just get to the point where you just brush it off and you just keep going forward. Page of Swords is about communication. So pages are often more youthful energies too. Can represent children, can represent somebody who's immature emotionally. But what I love about this is she's holding this orb and she's looking at it. And for me, Page of Swords is usually like you want to reach out to somebody, but is she gonna do it? So depending on the other cards that are around, somebody's either communicating, they want to communicate, or they're cutting you out of their life. So this is one that can go either way. Knight of Swords, knights, they're taking action, they're growing, they're going forward. So this guy is just, and swords again are in the third eye, the intellect, the upper chakras. So he's starting his connection to divine, but he's not in full king mode. Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords can be known as the Ice Queen. She's no nonsense. She's going to set boundaries. She's one that, like, you can tell, like, you don't mess with her. King of Swords, here he is. He's got his sword. He's embracing it, his power, and his connection to the all. So now we're moving on to Wands. This one is the Spiritual Awakening card in my Cosmic Order Oracle, which is the sister deck to this. So I loved, kind of tying some of these together. But this is like that idea, that epiphany, that spark. It can be, something that's, for me, Wands, traditionally Ace of Wands would maybe be like a passionate, like, love affair, a new beginning. But right, when you're on this journey for so long and you spend so much time, right? If you're celibate for months, years, you start to use that energy in different ways, right? And I always joke with people, like, why do you think I created 13 decks? Like, this is like the Wands is your passion. It's your sacral chakra. So you start to, all joking aside, you start to harness that energy and use it in different ways. And it's often like in alignment with your divine life purpose. Two of Wands, I love it because obviously, it's a literal depiction of a guy holding two wands, but it's like putting out there, like, starting to like think about, all right, what do I want in my life? What do I want to manifest? What am I going to bring in? And you start to connect, and like maybe you're, I would say you're doing full moon rituals, or just really connecting in with what's going on cosmically and using that energy to propel you forward on your journey. Three of Wands is about expansion. It's about expansion and exploration and actually getting out there. Like here, he's kind of like, all right, which way am I going to go? What am I going to do? And here he's like actually taking action. So I love that it's an astronaut exploring a whole new world. Four of Wands. This one is about stability, foundation. And it's so funny, our friend Saturn is appearing again. It's like burning up outside, like you can see like the energy coming off of this, and it's kind of like you're so solid, like in your foundation, right? She's got this home like in the sky, right? It's like you're solid in your foundation and your knowing. So I read this as like you're not going to let this stuff phase you anymore. But that card can obviously have a lot of different meanings depending on the context. Five of Wands is traditionally about conflict and competition. And I view this one, this is another one that's sideways. It's just a stunning image. I view this as like when you get in your own head and you are your enemy, right, on this journey. It's like this is your shadow self too. This is like the balance of your higher self and your shadow self. It's like, for me, if I saw this card come out, it's like Five of Wands. Oh, that's that shadow. That's that conflict. That's that what's holding me back from doing what I'm doing or should be doing on my path. Six of Wands is the victory and success. So yay, I've overcome whatever was going on, and everything is happening as it's supposed to. Seven of Wands can be defensive mode. So I like, that we've got this hand, like stop, no, like it can be putting up boundaries, but it can be like kind of being guarded too. Eight of Wands is communication. So this was just perfect with the satellite and the outer, the spaceship. I can't talk. Nine of Wands is about our the uphill climb. Literally, it's like this, just like it's like having the perseverance, having the confidence, but it's also about being tired. It's like, you know, looking up, look at this full moon, like, is this the full moon finally, when like all this stuff that was supposed to happen 3 years ago, you get to this point where you're just feel like you're climbing and you're climbing and you're climbing and you're looking up and you're like, what else do I need to do, right? So there can kind of be this frustration energy with it, but it's also knowing that you're being guided and that it's all happening for a reason. But 10 of Wands is where we feel overwhelmed, burdened, and just like, oh my God, like I'm just exhausted. So when you're on the journey for a long time, and when you're on the 10 of Wands, it's kind of like you might have just went through like a really tough lesson, or you might be getting ready to go through an up level. And you can see he looks battered and just like, but he's like one with the cosmos though. It's part of him, and he's got that knowing. You might not like it, but he's got the knowing of what's happening and why. Page of Wands, again, pages are about communication. And what's cool about this one, you may not be able to see it on here. So the image is actually, it kind of looks almost like somebody's got a hood, like a hoodie, and they're holding it up. But technically, the image is really this way, like their head is this way. But it's kind of this illusion, and there is some cosmic design in it. So Page of Wands, communication, exciting news. If you've been waiting to hear for a job offer or something like that, that's where you're going to see that card come in. Knight of Wands, that's the passionate love affair, the playboy. Of all the knights, this is the one that's probably not going to stick around. You might have a lot of fun, but Knight of Wands energy is that's what it is, right? But on the cosmic journey, though, even though I have it depicted, with two people, this can be like you're just going to take an adventure. You're just going to be spontaneous. You're just going to go. You're just going to take a risk and do something fun and wild and crazy, right? Queen of Wands, she is magnetic, and she's drawing in all these things, right? You can see she's just in this, like, state of bliss, this state of, like, not noticing, or oblivion is what I should say, like, what's around her, and she's just connected to everything. And it's hard to see in here, but she's got this literal, like, energy crackling around her, and she's going to bring in everything that's in alignment with her. King of Wands, I love this guy. It's hard to see, but he's walking through the desert under a starry sky, and he's blazing his trail, and he's confident, he's forging ahead, and he knows where he's going. All right, we're moving on to Pentacles. Ace of Pentacles, this is one of my favorite cards. It was just, I couldn't believe when I got the download, to do this deck, just how quickly it came together, and some of the images that I was able to find, it's just unreal. So this it looks like an acorn, right? A pentacle is like our coins, our finances, something physical, tangible. And it looks like an acorn with like the cosmos inside of it. So I just thought that was really, really cool. Ace of Pentacles is like that solid, tangible offer or experience that's happening. But it's kind of like when we're looking for that, though, we're expecting, it's almost like you don't want to, it's like, oh, I've got this like opportunity coming in, but it may not be solid in the sense that it's going to stick around forever, if that makes sense. It's part of your journey, it's part of your evolution, and it's going to propel you to the next thing. So we're always looking, when you get to a certain point, you have to stop looking for the end result, and like each moment is magical. It's not like when am I going to get to XYZ? It's like, well, maybe if enough time goes by, XYZ becomes something totally different, and you're like, wow, I see it now, that all these little acorns led me to this other thing. Two of Pentacles, this is about balance, juggling things, right? Where things can be kind of like maybe our work and family life or whatever, is out of alignment. For me, I chose this. I love this image because it's like she's getting pulled back into the physical realm. It's like she's maybe out of balance with spirit, like she's tethered too tightly, and she's like turning like away from her spiritual work. So that's how I would interpret that card, and in a more spiritual based reading versus traditional Two of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles, again, this is a sideways one. I just love it. It's about teamwork, And we've got all these people banding together to help uplift the earth, which is what it's about. Four of Pentacles, this is like our scarcity mindset. Like, is this all there is? Is it enough? Am I enough? And so she's just in this really big contemplation mode. And you can see she's kind of, Four of Pentacles is, like I said, an energy of lack. Five of Pentacles, you feel like you're left out in the cold. And I mean, this guy's sitting watching Earth from afar. It's kind of hard to see him, but he's got a hoodie on and he's just like on his own. Maybe you feel shut out or like you don't belong. And then it's just trusting that you're getting in alignment. Maybe you need to get more in alignment with yourself, your higher self. And that's where the Six of Pentacles comes in, is after that period of being kind of left out in the cold and having a door close, you realize something else when you go through the door is more in alignment. But I love this because this is the meditation, this is our chakras, and this is like getting our physical body, right? Because Pentacles are physical. Getting our physical body in line with our energetic body. Seven of Pentacles is about planting seeds and growing something, and it may take time, but this is just a beautiful image because she's holding this tree in the palm of her hand that's like starting to blossom. Eight of Pentacles, that is about our working on ourselves. And here this guy is in the middle of the road. It's very hard to see him, but he's in the middle of the road, and where maybe before it was this like 9 and 10 of Wands energy, it's like you're starting to recognize, like, instead of being overwhelmed and burdened, you're like, okay, I'm in the middle of the road, I don't know where I'm going, but you stop and you're like, you recognize the growth in the situation, you recognize the journey. And it's like when you're actively recognizing that you're always a work in progress, right? It's that acceptance of it. So I thought that was beautiful. Nine of Pentacles. This is one that's also in my Cosmic Order deck as, I think, spiritual healing or spiritual gifts. Nine of Pentacles is our self-employment card. So this could be, that you're meant to do spiritual work or maybe have spiritual work done on you. But so I love that this guy is like doing Reiki. Doing Reiki on this, and this is also just if you want to work on yourself, right? If you're taking care of yourself physically, making sure that you get regular Reiki sessions done, massages, things like that. I feel like the more that and the faster that we're clearing things and having these experiences and transmuting energy, the more essential it is that you have somebody, work on your energetic body and help you. Because, like, for me, the things that are happening so fast, my physical body is having trouble keeping up with all of the stuff that's happening energetically. And so a lot of times, like, I'm really, like, not all in my body, or there's just, like, I even had a rib that kind of, like, it wasn't even anything physical. It was, like, just something that was just, my spine was out of alignment, and it's, like, just, you go through, literally as we're uncovering DNA, our dormant DNA is, the more we, it gets activated, the more work that we're doing. I know that sounds crazy, but it's a real thing, and your body, it's going through a lot, and I feel like it's all accelerating. So anyway, as an aside, it's essential that you get energetic work done frequently, and massages and things like that. 10 of Pentacles, this one is, having that full balance. I love this, that it's like the masculine and feminine energy, right, with this random cosmic jellyfish, but you're connected to spirit, you're living your best life on earth too, because you're embracing your divine life purpose, you're connecting to the all, you're going with the flow. So this is really just being happy, being alone, and just doing all the, just having the best experiences. Page of Pentacles, this is, can be, for me, it's again, pages are communication, but it can be like starting a new chapter, like a new, something coming in that's like opening a new opportunity up for you. So we've got her walking with the book along this path. Knight of Pentacles, This guy is, they're slow, steady, and he's just like starting out on his journey, right? He's not mastered it yet, so it's like, and I guess we never truly master it, right? But it's like I'm getting like you're just starting out, you're just learning, and you still have some stuff, before you become a king. Queen of Pentacles, though, she's where she's like riding a horse. She is in this energy of having it all, having the connection to spirit, being happy on her own, traveling, having all these amazing experiences, and being in alignment with herself. The king is there as well. And you can see the difference, right? With the knight, he's got the backpack on, and it's like, oh my God. It's almost like the 9 to 10 of wands, like, I gotta go up this mountain. Here, he's like, oh, I'm on the road, I got this. He's got a guitar. He's just in this energy like, okay, I got this now. It's just walk. It's a walk. It's not anything overly exerting, right? All right, so we're on the last suit, which is Cups, which is the emotions. Ace of Cups, I love this one. This can be an offer, right? But to me, an offer of love traditionally, but this is like maybe having some sort of spiritual experience, right? It's this huge blast of light coming, but it's also like water within it, but something that reaffirms ourselves on the journey. We might have some sort of an amazing experience with nature, or something that just makes our mind go, whoa, right? And it opens up our heart more, and we're like, wow, okay, all these things that have happened, and you just have this gratitude flowing from your heart, and it helps you connect deeper with everything around you and within yourself, and just that unconditional love, that 5-dimensional, just, yeah. Two of Cups is about sacred partnership. It's hard to see, I think, but there are a man and a woman embracing here. So traditionally it is, but you'll see the journey to oneness. This is the suit that really shows it, and how it often starts, right? We still think that getting that offer of that's what we need, right? And then maybe we don't get it, and we have, like I was saying, that reconnection through a spiritual experience, and then maybe somebody comes in your life and you're like, oh, this is great. And Three of Cups is a proposal. Celebration, and we think maybe, oh, this is where it's going to go, right? We focus on that end, but then maybe you realize that's not what you want, or it doesn't go that way, or it was just a fantasy, right? But so then we move to the Four of Cups, where you have that discontent, where it's like, oh, I really wanted that, I needed that to make me happy. You can see she's just sitting there kind of looking off, and it's like, look at all this other world. Like, she's focusing on the past and what was lost, and it's like, all this stuff is out here for you to explore. And the Five of Cups, is even further, in that energy where it's like the water's flowing, trying to get her to move in a different direction, and she's so focused on this, right? The lessons of the past, and it's like you're trying to get her to move forward. Six of Cups is past life energy. It can be childhood too, but given the nature of this deck, obviously I chose more of the past life theme, so it can be a past life connection, or just a past life lesson, maybe something that's coming up through this experience, right? That's where I was picking up on these planets, that whatever they were doing in her chart, they're making her learn a lesson. So then we have the past life energy. Seven of Cups, this is about opportunities, but it's also about fantasy. You can see she's like holding this moon and looking up at it like, oh, like this is everything I've ever wanted, right? It's like not real though. So eventually, you work through these things. Eight of Cups is moving on, walking away from things that no longer serve. And she's running through a field. It's kind of hard to see, but she's finally going towards something real and something tangible, versus this idea like, oh, this is here. This is like, this is what I want. I have to have this, and it has to be this way. And she's stuck in this and just staring at something that's an illusion, right? Here she's like finally taking steps to walk away from that and truly find herself. Nine of Cups is where you start to embrace the journey of self, joy in connecting to the all. And then the Ten of Cups is the oneness. So that's the journey to oneness. It's where there's this person, like this embracement, you know, you can see this embracing, this surrender, and she's actually made of stars. She's part of the stars, just like the rest of the universe. So that's the journey to oneness, is where you let all those things go, and it's an ongoing process. It's not like, oh, I just made this, right? This is where we're heading, and who knows where we're going to be, right, on this journey. Who knows what deck I'll be doing, you know, making next year, and what kinds of new things that we've not even, you know, experienced yet as a collective are going to come forth. It's an ongoing process. So we just have a few more cards here. Page of Cups. Pages, again, are the youthful energy. I just thought this was so beautiful. The moon is tied to our emotions, and so this could definitely be an emotional news that comes through, right, or loving news. Knight of Cups, this is an offer of love. This can be a romantic gesture, but what I love, it's like this person's alone, so it's kind of like maybe you're doing something self-love, self-care. Queen of Cups, Queen and King of Cups, oh my gosh, these are probably two of my favorite cards in this whole deck. The Queen of Cups, you can see she's swimming. She's got these like fins on. She's swimming in the depths of this cosmic, you know, ocean. It's like, is she in the air, in the water? But she's deep. She's emotionally deep. She's spiritually deep. And she's just holding and anchoring that space and that energy, right? And only a king who is also in that energy, a King of Cups. I love that he's emotionally mature, and he opens his shirt, he opens his heart, and it's the divine, it's the all. So, you know, he's like in that same space where he's ready to be vulnerable, and he's so connected to everything that like he's, you know, not holding himself back. So I just thought that was absolutely, I love that image. So yeah, so that is the Cosmic Tarot. I hope you guys like it, and it is available on the Make Playing Cards site. Like I said, I have some of my other decks in my inventory, but I don't have this one. So if you have any questions about any of my decks, you can shoot me an email, and if you would like to book a reading to discuss your specific journey, that information is also down below. Until next time, take care.